Hello there, YouTubes. Now, um, last night I appeared, albeit rather more briefly than I'd have preferred. I had to duck out early because my internet connection was being shit. Anyway, I appeared for the second time on the Illusions Exist group hangout thing, which is on Pyro's channel, which I'll leave a link to his channel below because he's a pretty cool dude. Um, and and that's on Sundays at 5 p.m. East Coast time in America, which is 10 p.m. here in Britain. And they have like a varied group of people in there, and they talk about all kinds of different things. So if you want to go check that out, that'd be cool. It's something I might appear on relatively regularly because I enjoy the chat and the sort of varied people and all the rest of it. But for the brief time I was in there last night, we were talking about a guy called Inmendham, who many of you may have heard. He's been around for fucking years, and is basically something of a fucking maniac, basically. And we were talking more specifically about his let's say, interesting take on science and that sort of thing. And he's written a paper. It's not really a paper at all. It's barely a pamphlet, to be honest. And yeah, it's fucking absolute nonsense, basically. Is the point, right? And I thought nothing more of it really until today. I was linked by Quintica, who's one of the dudes who's generally in the Illusions Exist room, to Inmendham's response, which is just brilliant. And I'll link that below, even though I don't really want to give Gary any publicity because he's a fucking dickhead, basically. I mean, he's not evil or anything, but he's just a bit of a twat. Um, I'll link that below because it's fun to watch because it's just the most butthurt response I've ever seen. Now, in my usually self-obsessed way, I'm going to respond to the bit he says in response to me, and I only made a couple of brief comments really because I hadn't actually, and he's right in a sense because I hadn't read his paper at the time. But yeah. Anyway, I was making some brief comments about his poor attempts at dilettante science, and how in general people who do kind of ignorant science bits on the internet are uh, insulting to scientists. And in my absolute incompetence at making videos, what I'm going to do is, as we've done before, I'm going to play it on my phone, and you'll get the audio from my phone because I can't work out how to do the video anyway because Google does not make this shit simple, people. Anyway, right, so hopefully the audio works out. Let's have a listen to what Gary has to say.
Exactly right.
By the way, he refers to me as Brickhead, even though he looks like fucking Rocky Dennis from the film Mask, not The Mask with Jim Carrey, Mask, like the big-headed kid who apparently was based on a real person. I didn't know that, but I'll make that the screen cap, the what do you call it, the thumbnail for this video, so anyone who doesn't know what that looks like will get an idea because Gary, but he basically does look quite like him. Anyway, so yeah, that's
I spend at least 3 years on this. Again, watching all the lectures on physical mechanics, essentially at MIT, Stanford, and Harvard. So
which, by the way, we only have your word for, Gary. But there's no like just saying I did X, Y, and Z means nothing. The whole point of doing those courses is that you come out of it at the end with proof that you did those things, so that we don't just have to take your word for it. And by the way, just watching the lectures isn't quite doing the course, is it? Really? But anyway.
watch the full first and second year lecture courses of physics, and you're saying I have no qualifications whatsoever.
Yes, that is literally what I'm saying. Just watching 2 years worth of physics lectures is not having a qualification. That's not how that system works.
I haven't done any work. I've
No, I didn't say you didn't do any work. That would be a straw man, Gary.
done more research on the two-slit experiment than I would contend than anybody on YouTube. I've seen.
Than anyone on YouTube. Well, that is fucking amazing. Wow. Well, I've masturbated more times than anyone on YouTube. That means just as much in terms of my knowledge of physics.
Eat more of them. I've read about more of them.
Well, I know it isn't literally, but you get the point.
Than I would condemn anybody on YouTube. I know more two-slit experiments than anybody knows.
Is that prison slang?
But I'm not qualified.
Yes, you're not qualified. You're just not. And neither am I. But I'm not the one going around trying to rewrite what physics is.
I haven't done anything to make myself informed and educated on the subject.
Informed, yes. Educated, not really.
Says Brickhead.
Again, you look like Rocky Dennis, mate. I wouldn't be going on about other people's looks. And yes, I'm an ugly bastard. I'll happily admit that. But you're worse. That's the thing. It's the same, actually, as an aside, with Sargon. He calls me Potato Head. You're fatter than me, you cunt. What are you doing? Anyway.
Have you read the paper, Brickhead? Have you?
No, I was too busy having a brick in my head, obviously.
You're going to critique something you haven't even read, correct? You haven't read the
I wasn't actually critiquing your work. I was critiquing you, you dickhead. You're pretending to be a scientist.
paper, and yet you're going to critique it.
No. Oh, bollocks, I pressed the wrong fucking thing. Go back. There we go. See, I don't know what I'm doing.
Critique me and my qualifications.
Yes, I'll critique you and your qualifications because you're an idiot and you don't have any qualifications. So. Play.
You're going to do it in this arrogant manner where everybody listen to me, pay attention. See,
You call me arrogant, but you're the one pretending to be a scientist when you have absolutely no qualifications to call yourself that.
Pointing out to you that this guy's a fraud. I have no evidence that he's a fraud.
I didn't say you were a fraud. I didn't say you were a fraud at all. I don't believe you to be a fraud. I believe you to be an idiot. A very different thing.
I have no evidence that
Being a fraud would take some amount of intelligence that you don't possess.
he's ill-informed or ignorant. I'm just going to make the claim. And that's something that somebody should respect.
I don't give a fuck if anyone respects it. Not wow. I mean,
No, I'll just say you look like a pedophile.
I forgot what I was going to say now, and I've just ruined one of my best lines because he says, "You look like a pedophile, fucker." But the way he says it makes me sound like I'm fucking pedophiles, which would be perfectly legal. But
Fucker. Prove to me.
That's easy. He was like, I'm not an expert on shit, but I'll say, look, I'm not a trained professional. This is my opinion, or something. Yeah. That's like me going up to a mechanic going, oh no, I built an engine, and they're like, did you? And I'm like,
oh, this is another.
This is my opinion.
That was another person that was in there last night. He was quite a nice chap, albeit I only talked to him briefly. But
It's like, shut up then.
Well, again, so you're supposed to shut up.
if you don't know what you're talking about, ideally, yes. I mean, you can give opinions, but don't pretend that they're facts.
That's the attitude. Shut up.
You should probably shut up, yes.
Doesn't matter unless you have a degree, right? So unless I get the little badge to wear,
This is the thing. This video is called "What the Fuck" number 417. Jesus, he's been around forever. I don't need no stinking badges. Which, apart from the absolutely appalling construction of that sentence, you do kind of need the badge. And it's not. You can try and demean it by saying it's a badge. I don't need the badge. You sort of do, Gary, in a way, because it's not the badge itself. It's what that signifies. It shows that you actually have been through those lectures that you claim you've been through, and not just that, but you've written stuff and you've done experiments and all of that, which has been overseen by actual fucking professionals, and you've shown at least a basic grasp of the course material, which you have not shown. So we have to take it on your say so, even though you're full of shit, that you sat through the first 2 years and only the first 2 years of physics, and yet that somehow makes you an expert. And we have absolutely no way of knowing, other than your appalling grasp of science, that you have any actual fucking understanding of the course material. Yeah, you're not qualified or educated, or frankly, seems all that fucking knowledgeable, which is fine, but don't pretend to be.
My badge, that's all that counts. The badge makes the man. Okay.
No, the badge shows that you've done it and that you can do it. That's what that means. Okay, the badge doesn't make the man. The badge shows the man, or indeed woman, or non-binary, or whatever, that they actually have, knowledge, that they've been through the actual experiences of it, that they've done the experiments in the case of science, or that they've studied all the course material, they've read all the books, they actually know the fucking subject on some level. It doesn't mean they're going to be the next fucking Einstein or whomever, but it shows that they have a basic competence in that, which you have shown you do not. So that's about that, really. It does impugn all the other people in the live show, rather embarrassingly. But I don't want to sort of sit here and talk on their behalf as to their intentions or whatever. But I'll leave a link to Gary's video below, so you can go and check that out. He's a fucking idiot. There's no doubt about that. And I have very little doubt that if he were to actually attempt to gain the necessary qualifications, that he would not be able to do so. I'm just putting that out there. And not just that, but it's almost like he's trying to do a sort of weird, almost like a reverse argument from authority. What? We should believe him because he isn't a scientist or something. I don't quite know where he's going with that. But anyway, thank you all for listening. I don't want this to become like a flame war or a fucking drama between me and Gary. I'm no interested in engaging with the prick really. It's just he said a few silly things that I thought were worth correcting. So anyway, thank you all for listening, and pip, pip. It would help if I actually pressed the stop broadcast button, wouldn't it, rather than just pressing the fucking screen like an idiot. Pip pip.